Hey everybody, Howling Frames here, and today we are making a comic. Not just any comic. This comic is made by 7 different artists. And today, each artist doesn't get to communicate with each other. They have to make their page by interpreting in their own way how they see the previous pages. And without further ado, let's get into the first page. Hello everybody, it's me, Howling Frames. As the creator of this video, I'm gonna start off with our first page today. Now, I've been into drawing planes a lot recently, so I decided to put one in here. And to make a dramatic effect, you know, the plane's going down. As always, something like that happens when there's a plane in a comic. So I came in here and I wanted to make this look as fancy as possible, even though I wasn't using my drawing tablet and computer. That was because my drawing tablet was acting up the day I made this, and sadly I didn't get to use it. I wanted to add another aspect to it of they were stranded, so that's why I made the plane start crashing in the jungle. And lastly, I added an even more dramatic effect by adding the pilot come over the intercom and say, "Brace for impact."
Hey, you know what? Plane's about to crash. I decided to go cliche and no one dies. So, it's pretty epic. Well, furthermore, they are suspended by the trees. The engines are still on fire. They're in the middle of a jungle somewhere. So it's still pretty dangerous. It's not too great, but the captain wakes up. Co-pilot informs him what's happening. I was going to add more characters, but I didn't do that. There is a mysterious guy, a passenger who parachuted right before impact. The captain's frustrated about that, but besides that, the captain is pretty well collected. He's formulating what to do next, but I ended it with foreshadowing because Captain looks at the plane, he examines it, and there's bullet piercings. I should have drawn that in there, and he noticed that they're being hunted, and it ends with the foreshadowing saying, "We're not safe here," looking up at the sky at this mysterious possible Porco Rosso figure. If you know who Porco Rosso is, he's like a scout or something. He's a bounty hunter. You should watch that movie. But anyway, yeah, I got kind of excited about this page. It looks fine, I guess. We'll see what I want to see what happens next. Hey guys, welcome to my comic page. Let's get into it. So I started with a simple sketch. However, it just wasn't working for me. So I made an outline. The outline, it really helped me put my notebook ideas onto the page without having to worry about little nitty-gritty details. I could just free draw and edit heavily before sketching it out. Next, I added the drawing layer. Here I polished my outline. The characters ended up looking a lot better. Actually, I was really proud of that. Though here and there, I had to make some big changes. Next were the effects. I had explosions, jetpacks, and even communication signals. And after that was the coloring. It was honestly the most tedious part, and it took up about half my time. However, in the end, it ended up looking just how I wanted it to. Especially the blurred forest background. I tried to imitate the styles of the last 2 artists, hoping to carry on a similar theme but with my own creative flair. For example, the blue jackets. The blue jackets, you know, they struck me as a symbol of unity among the characters. I tried to maintain its sleek design while adding a little bit of definition. Last but not least were the dialogue boxes. To put it simply, I had no idea how to put text onto the page, so I was creative and drew the text instead. So I had a lot of fun with this project. Hopefully as page 4, it can stand out as a dramatic build into the climax.
Well, hi, I'm Alan Eby, and I got one of the pages here on the collab. So I was looking at the pages before and trying to figure out what a fun character for the shooter would be. And so I just decided, since we had some dogs and a cat, that a snake would be a good bad guy. So then I decided there would be snake commandos coming in. So that's as far as the content. So as I'm putting the page together, I just tried to move pieces around where it drew your eye around the page. So the circle at the beginning, because your eye will go to that. But then the barrel of the snake's rifle is pointing down to the left, which will take your eye to the cat yelling panel. Your eye moves naturally left to right if you're reading American comics, and in the bottom, the cat pointing to the kind of to the speech bubble and off to the page of the next one. So that's just kind of how my brain was working through the composition of the elements that I wanted to put in there, and then I just tried to get as close as I could with the coloring to what the folks ahead of me did, and yeah, looking forward to seeing the end product. Thanks.
Welcome to my comic page. So for this page, I wanted to try and get it to flow nicely into a battle scene. So I went in and started drawing the sniper for the rattlesnake from the page before. And after a couple of attempts, I was able to get something I was happy with. And then after that, I started drawing the main people, including Steve, who is leading the attack. And then I went in and drew Tracy, the dog with the jetpack. And then after that, I drew the snakes parachuting in as enemies. And then I finished drawing the snake with the sniper, and then started bolding the outlines, making it look nice. And then after bolding the outlines, I went in and did the coloring for Steve. And then after I did the coloring for Steve, I went in and did the coloring for Tracy. And cleaned up the outlines, and then I did the corner with Steve, and then I started coloring in the sky in the background. And then after coloring in the background, I went in and colored the snake with the sniper, and then the parachute, and then the snake's parachuting in, and then here's the final product. Off to the next artist. Hello again, everybody. It is me, Howling Frames. And you may be wondering, why am I doing another page? Well, one of my artists had to leave, so I'm filling in for them. And I just kind of wanted to bring the story along without changing it too much, so I just kind of added a little bit of literal sense to what the last page said, attack, but they don't have any weapons. So how would they attack with no weapons? But that was basically my thought of the beginning of the page. I then spent way too long trying to figure out what I wanted the last frame or frames to be, and as you can see, I started to settle on something, and that's when I went to go do the rest of my line art and come back to that. I did another mystery shooter that added suspense as it was shot over the ears of the one character, and that's when I decided I know what I'm going to do for my last frame. So I kind of made it look like Trevor was the one that shot, but not totally. I played around with how I wanted him to look, but in the end I came to this, and then went on to refining stuff and moved on to the coloring process, which really didn't take too long, but I think this looks a lot better than my first page, and I'm really happy with it. Our final page was done, but the artist kind of forgot to record, so his page will be in here, but he doesn't have a video. Let's not keep you waiting any longer. Let's see the finished comic. Thank you everybody for watching. I will have all of the artists with YouTube channels linked in the description. I will see you next time.